And welcome back to Shedding Starlight. We are starting our third long-awaited season on Kingdom Hearts 2.
If this is your first time listening to us, Hannah and I discuss the lore of this game series in a way that's approachable to new fans playing through for their first time. So while we'll discuss Kingdom Hearts 2 in depth, we will not mention any revelations or spoilers from later titles.
In our first season, we covered the original game's antagonist Ansem, who refers to himself as the Seeker of Darkness, and discussed his various studies on darkness, hearts, and the greater world. However, Kingdom Hearts 2 reveals even more about who this man was, or rather, who he wasn't.
In Kingdom Hearts 2, we learn that this man's name was actually Xehanort. He still experimented on people's hearts. He still opened a door deep within Hollow Bastion. He still sent Kairi off to Destiny Islands. Most everything we read about in Kingdom Hearts 1 was still committed by this silver-haired man. Only now, we realize he did so under his master's name rather than his own. Xehanort may have started off perhaps framing his master for monstrous deeds, but eventually he went so far as to take his name, Ansem, for himself.
How long has it been since I abandoned that name?
In our first season, we said that when Xehanort embraced the darkness, instead of creating a Heartless, he remained solely as a sentient heart, floating around in rags, whispering in Sora and Riku's ears on Destiny Islands. And this was partly true. Xehanort did remain only as a heart for many years, but when he possessed Riku, he reformed as a being of darkness that has its heart inside, but resembles its original appearance. In other words, an extremely anomalous emblem Heartless. He even has the emblem sigil on his chest to imply this.
So, this man has 3 versions of himself, all going by different names. His human self, named Xehanort, his Heartless, who stole the name Ansem, and his nobody, who followed that convention and named himself Xemnas, an anagram of Ansem in addition with the letter X.
Xemnas.
To avoid confusion with Ansem the Wise, fans often refer to this Heartless with the entire title of Ansem the Seeker of Darkness. However, we will only refer to him as Xehanort's Heartless to further differentiate between the two. Likewise, instead of Ansem's reports and Secret Ansem's reports, we will refer to these as Kingdom Hearts 1's reports and Kingdom Hearts 2's reports, since they're written by 2 different people.
Speaking of the reports, Kingdom Hearts 2's revelations give great context to the events surrounding Xehanort's studies from the first game. Let's walk through how Xehanort went down this path and why he eventually split into a Heartless and nobody. To begin, we actually start with Ansem the Wise, the ruler of Radiant Garden. Before he ever met Xehanort, he and his apprentices were already studying hearts and the darkness within. The very first Kingdom Hearts 1 report wasn't written by Xehanort like the others. It was written by Ansem the Wise himself. But though I am called a sage, there are things I do not understand. As ruler of this world, I must find the answers.
Eventually, Ansem found Xehanort almost dying and nursed him back to health. Xehanort, who had amnesia, then became his new apprentice and volunteered in these experiments on the heart in hopes of recovering his memories. To further these experiments, Ansem installed a vast lab built with hundreds of devices that extract hearts. Although he didn't seem to expect things to go so awry, because when he discovered that his apprentices had been collecting people to fill those devices, Ansem essentially had a mental breakdown. He ordered his apprentices to shut everything down and destroy the results. However, this did not spur Xehanort away. Xehanort prepared a presentation for Ansem, probably to request funding, regarding what he secretly wrote about in his Kingdom Hearts 1 reports and the passage at World Terminus.
Master Ansem, regarding the experiment I presented the other day, with your permission, I'd like to proceed.
I forbid it!
Forget this talk of doors and the heart of all worlds. That place must not be defiled.
Now, you might remember King Mickey present for this conversation, as he and Ansem are old friends.
Wise Ansem, I'm here to seek your advice.
Mickey suggested Ansem review Xehanort's data, probably in case it had clues or solutions to doors and Heartless appearing throughout the worlds, something Mickey was investigating at the time. At the time, Ansem blamed himself for this. It wasn't until he discovered Xehanort's reports from the first game that he realized who was responsible. Since Xehanort was now completely cut off from his master's resources, he decided to reach Kingdom Hearts in his own way. He wrote in Kingdom Hearts 1's 10th report, "My path is set. I shall seek out the wielder of the Keyblade and the princesses. My body is too frail for such a journey, but I must do this. I will cast it off and plunge it in the depths of darkness."
This is most likely when he took on the name Ansem permanently. He released Kairi to find the Keyblade wielder, then plunged himself into darkness, separating his heart from his body, creating Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, and Xemnas, the leader of the soon-to-be-founded organization. Lastly, Xemnas, using his power as an elite nobody, sent his previous master, Ansem the Wise, into, quote, a realm of nothingness. We never get to see Xehanort's Heartless and Nobody plot together, but they both tried to complete Kingdom Hearts through different means. Ansem the Wise writes in his final report about Xehanort, his Heartless had attempted to draw out the great darkness of Kingdom Hearts, creating the hearts of all worlds. His Nobody, however, is now almost finished gathering human hearts to be assimilated into Kingdom Hearts as well.
Xehanort's Heartless commanded other Heartless to steal the hearts of worlds. These hearts would then gather and combine to create Kingdom Hearts near the door to darkness. His Nobody, on the other hand, created an organization to continue experiments with the heart. Like, for example, their experiments with memory at Castle Oblivion, but their main objective was to use the Keyblade wielder to collect hearts from Emblem Heartless to create their own Kingdom Hearts.
Pitiful Heartless, mindlessly collecting hearts. The rage of the Keyblade releases those hearts. They gather in darkness, masterless and free, until they weave together to make Kingdom Hearts.
So, the Kingdom Hearts in the first game was created from worlds, and the Kingdom Hearts in this game is created from people. That might be obvious to many, but sometimes casual players forget that multiple Kingdom Hearts exist separately.
Something else fans might have forgotten, or dismissed as being retconned, is how Xehanort spoke to King Mickey about the Keyblade, and possibly Kingdom Hearts itself. Back in Kingdom Hearts 1, Xehanort wrote, "Today I had a guest from another world. He is a king. We talked for countless hours, but one story in particular caught my interest. That of a key, called the Keyblade." Because Kingdom Hearts 2 covers that Mickey visited his friend Ansem the Wise, people believe this report was retconned to be about him rather than Xehanort. But it's important to remember that by the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, both Mickey and Xehanort knew about the Kingdom Key and its counterpart. Xehanort writes about this in the World Terminus passage. And in the beginning of the first Kingdom Hearts game, Mickey writes to Donald, asking him and Goofy to find one Keyblade while he leaves in search for the other. So it's possible that while Xehanort came to hypothesize about the Heart of All Worlds himself, either Mickey told him 2 Keyblades were tied to the Door of Darkness, or Xehanort taught Mickey that. Both are a less than comforting thought.
In this first episode on Kingdom Hearts 2, we looked at the villain from the original Kingdom Hearts game, Ansem the Seeker of Darkness, in a new, sinister light. We now know he was really the Heartless of a man named Xehanort, who was a scientist during Hollow Bastion's glory days.
He, along with other apprentices, betrayed and dethroned their master. Xehanort Ansem, Xemnas. Kingdom Hearts' villain is a man with many names and many faces, but they have one ultimate goal: to complete Kingdom Hearts.
So, Ansem, not Ansem, his name's Xehanort, makes a Heartless. Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, makes a nobody named Xemnas. Ansem the Wise.
We just spent the last 10 to 12 minutes clearing it up, and you're confusing me all over again.
No, you're the expert. No. I can't do this. I can't be throwing you off. So, I'm the one that's thrown off.
I will say that. Okay, first of all, I'm looking at our discussion points, and I wrote down a lot, so I have a lot to say. And then I don't even think we're not even doing emails this time.
No, we kind of kept it a little secret as when we were coming back and what we were doing. So
yes,
we don't have any emails to respond to today, which is fine.
But on the bright side, I purposely wrote this and kind of planned this in a way where this isn't the only time we're going to be talking about Xehanort. He's so interesting, and there's so much to him that I took away certain parts to apply to other episodes. So if you do have a question about him, I don't really feel like this is like, oh, well, too bad. Like, you're stuck, so don't worry about that.
We did post a video that listed a bunch of future topics we're going to talk about on Mel's Twitter.
Yes, we did.
It's also, I think it's a short on our YouTube page. So if you want a little sneak peek of what we're going to talk about, go check out that video.
Yes.
So,
the first thing I want to say oopsie about is the fact that we literally had to lie. We literally had to lie in season 1 because we're not a spoiler podcast. And so everybody else and their mothers probably during their season 1 talking about Kingdom Hearts 1 in their very first episode, they probably would be like, so Ansem, who's really a Heartless, but you don't know this yet.
Yeah, I've literally heard people say that. I've literally heard people use that phrase. Oh, you're not supposed to know this yet. Oh, you don't know this yet. We're cutting that bullshit.
It's fucking
That's not what we're here for.
I'm just get it together. Get it together, okay?
Get it together.
That's why we don't fail you. Yes, we lied, but we did it to protect you. We did it because we love you.
Listen, we are the parents. You are the 5-year-old. And we're telling you about Santa Claus for the first time, okay?
Yes.
That's the illusion we have to keep up here.
Yes, literally. Maybe not literally, but really.
Yeah.
So, Xehanort's Heartless didn't really become a Heartless immediately. He was, in those little rags, in that weird brown robe thing, he was just a heart. And we don't really know how long he was a heart because we don't really know when these events took place of when Xehanort betrayed his master. But we can gather it was at least a handful of years because, well, yeah, because Ansem sent Kairi to Destiny Islands, who knows how fucking long ago. And Sora and Riku were kids when they were like, there's a new girl on the island. So it seems likely that Xehanort was a heart, just a heart, for a long time, which is very interesting. That he was able to hold on to his humanity for that long.
Yeah, that is so interesting. Because, no one else has done anything like that.
No. It's very weird. And I think that just goes to show how determined he is.
Scary. A man that's determined.
So isn't that a Undertale word?
Determination, yeah.
Yes.
It's like the concept that humans have it and monsters don't, and that's why they are able to prevail. It's like a power. It's a power. Determination. So, yeah.
Okay, so I love these early years of Xehanort because to me, it almost feels like the center of Kingdom Hearts. Like, I feel like every time we get a new game, every new set of characters that we meet in a whole new scenario, something comes back to this little situation. It's really interesting. Even now, with how far along we are in the series, this is still being expanded. And so that's one of the reasons why we wanted to go over it, is because it's just fucking important.
Yeah. And I think that this game did a really good job. My English teacher would hate that I'm using that phrase. She told us to never use the phrase, this does a good job of. But I think it's very cool how they were able to take the big bad from Kingdom Hearts 1 and then kind of distance him a little more in this game, if that makes sense. Because now, like, he was a big bad at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, but now he's an even bigger bad because there's deception that you didn't know was happening for that whole first game. And now he is kind of this otherworldly, not otherworldly, but like this distant, mysterious presence that you still don't really know a whole lot about because he's not in this game. The final boss is Xemnas.
Yeah,
who
you're
is
right.
not Xehanort.
You're right.
So he becomes this like bigger than life character, and that is kind of set up here, which is very, very cool and very interesting, and like good storytelling and a good way to set up what's coming, like what's to come.
Yes.
So
I completely agree, especially because what you said, no, he's not otherworldly, but how you explained him reminds me of Ansem the Wise in his Kingdom Hearts 2 reports does describe him as being superhuman.
Oh, yeah.
And that is like, ooh, I just got chills just saying that because like literally, other than nobodies, every person we've ever met in this game has been fucking human. Like, maybe not Donald and Goofy. Like, I don't know if they count. But, like, superhuman? Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah. Like, this is a universe where people use magic regularly. So what does superhuman mean in this context?
Yeah. Oh, it's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, just a little tangent. I love the creepiness of the Ansem reports, the secret Ansem reports in this game. I replayed most of the game for this season, and it's just like, it's very cool to feel the creepiness and the unsettling nature of Ansem the Wise discovering, like, what's going on, what happened here.
Yeah.
I'm failing the world by letting all of this horrible shit happen, and it's my fault. It's very cool. It's very creepy and eerie.
Yeah. And I like that we see the fallout of that. He literally like spirals and he has to go to Mickey Mouse for comfort.
Like, Mickey Mouse, save me, Mickey Mouse.
I do want to eventually return to the weirdness of Xehanort. But first of all, I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna fucking say it. Xehanort is a stupid name. It's stupid. It reminds me of the word xenomorph. That's what I think of when I say Xehanort. I think of the fucking alien.
That's so true.
Have you
a lot of the same letters.
Have you ever seen Galaxy Quest?
No, I haven't.
There's this green fucking alien. If you Google Galaxy Quest green bug alien, I don't know what his name is, but he looks like he'd be called Xehanort. That's how stupid the name Xehanort looks to me.
Yeah, I see it. I think it's this his real name is General Rothar Saris.
You might as well have said Xehanort. That's how stupid it is.
Put General in front of it. General Xehanort.
That's stupid. Spooky.
Anyway. I don't think I feel as strongly as you do about this. Because it had, like, I feel like it presents such an identity. And like it's probably because I've grown up with this series and like my association with this name is inseparable from my association with the identity of this person. But
yeah, okay.
Yeah, it lives like that way in my head.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck happened to me that I don't think of the man.
It is like a letter salad. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, none of those parts of that name are any sort of like language like stems that I recognize.
Yeah.
But
this name is not in the Bible, let me tell you.
Absolutely.
You did write a note here, Hannah, that I won't read it aloud, but it is interesting that, which I won't read it aloud because it's about a future game, and so that's why I'm not reading it aloud. But it does remind me of something that is in this game, and that's, so a hooded figure in Radiant Garden's lab types a username into the Radiant Garden computer, and then we later find out that it's Xemnas. And what's weird is that Xemnas inputs the username another. And another with the letter X is an anagram of Xehanort. Isn't that fucking weird?
It's wild.
Having no context of, I mean, I guess we have some context of who Xehanort is in Kingdom Hearts 2, but not really, because in this game, he has amnesia, but he never talks about his past. We don't know who he was. We don't know where he came from. We don't even know if he remembers or forgot. That's how little he talks about his past. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
he's
so,
very...
What? No.
I was just going to say, like, he's got, what, like 3 lines in this game?
Yeah.
The Master Ansem.
With your permission, I'd like to proceed.
That line is burned into my brain. And it's so, like, I just want to say the voice acting there is so unassuming. Like, he sounds so brain empty, you know?
It does. And this is, so if you played, I don't remember, okay, so Kingdom Hearts 1, even Final Mix, it's still Billy Zane as Ansem, or Xehanort's Heartless. And then in Kingdom Hearts 2, he gets a new voice actor in the flashbacks, and that's why, like, the memories Roxas has of Xehanort's Heartless, like, there's different line deliveries. It's because it's a new actor. And so how can that actor sound so scary as Xehanort and then so fucking nerdy or as the Heartless and so nerdy as the original man?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Anyway, I've gone so far away from my original bullet points of what I'm talking about. This is
Xehanort's a stupid name.
It's a stupid name. It's dumb. But I gotta admit, it's interesting. It's fascinating.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, also, the word another. That's like, it's interesting to think about what the implications of that could be. Because also, I want to say, I grew up specifically with the Kingdom Hearts 2 vanilla. I did not have all of the final mix scenes.
Yeah.
So I know I have the encyclopedic knowledge of which scenes are in final mix and which ones are not. Because if it sounds even remotely unfamiliar to me, I'm like, that wasn't a final mix. That was an addition. And that was a final mix edition. So yeah, it's just the implications of that are interesting. Like, because the passwords for like the other stuff, like, wasn't the princesses a password for something at some point?
Yeah, I think Xemnas inputs the username another, and then the passwords are the names of the princesses of Heart.
Gotcha.
And so what's weird is, like, you know, we've talked during the presentation about how we don't know if Xehanort, like, plotted after becoming a Heartless and Nobody. Did they plot together? Did they plan together? Or were they just like, okay, bros, I'm you, I'm me, you're you, let's split off and do our own thing. We don't know.
Go.
But when I think of the 7 princesses, I don't think of the organization or Xemnas. I think of Xehanort's Heartless.
Yeah,
and so
Maleficent, yeah.
And Maleficent. And so I don't know if, like, another is, like, in reference to these two different versions of Xehanort, and that's, like, that username is, like, a hint of their connection.
Yeah.
But even then, like, to me, another with the letter X implies even Xehanort is not the original name. So what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking weird.
So who is Xehanort?
Who the fuck is he? And by the way, just to remind any new listeners, me and Hannah do know. We are just being vague.
Know who Xehanort is.
We know everything. We're just being vague to avoid spoilers and to have fun with new listeners. Okay, that's it. Just to clarify. Anyway.
Yeah. It's the first episode of a new season. We gotta share the reminder again.
Yes. So this we're gonna return to our original form, and this is the next bullet point. We digressed a lot, but I don't regret any of it because it's all interesting. But something that I wanted to clarify, because I myself was confused about this for a long time. So at one point in Kingdom Hearts 2's reports, Ansem the Wise writes, though they, as in Xehanort's reports that he wrote, though they bore my name, the only one I had written was number 0. He apparently had gone through to pen numbers 1 through 8 himself. Now, when you play Kingdom Hearts 1, there's no report 0. And so you might think, like, is there, like, a secret first report that nobody knows about? But no. The numbering in Japan started with 0, and then when they moved it over to the West, they numbered the first one with number 1. So just to clear up any confusion, no matter what, Ansem the Wise is just talking about that first report was the only one he himself wrote, and all the rest were written by Xehanort.
Yeah, which is weird that they did not clarify that in that report, in the Western port.
Yeah, it confused the fuck out of me for fucking years because I'm just dumb and I don't know numbers, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, after Ansem the Wise discovered the reports 1 through 8, and then ordered a cease on, like, all the research, stop everything, shut everything down, I can't believe you guys did this, we gotta stop all this, how could I, how could you, blah, 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 right? Then Xehanort continued to write the last reports. That's when he wrote about splitting his heart from his body. That's when he wrote about casting Kairi off. So that's how we know that even though Ansem shut everything down, Xehanort didn't care. He was like, I'm still gonna cause some trouble. Actually, fuck you. I'm still gonna do what I want, you know? So if you're wondering, like, how are they writing all this? And yet, like, how do they know what happened when?
Yeah.
Just doing some logic on, like, the numbers of the reports that they're mentioning. Doing the math, like, that's how you can put those together. Okay.
I getcha. I follow.
Now, in Report 11 was when, from the first Kingdom Hearts game, was when Xehanort wrote about Kairi. And then in Report 12, he writes, my body is gone. So that means Xehanort released Kairi to Destiny Islands before he became a Heartless and Nobody. But what doesn't make fucking sense is that in Kingdom Hearts 2, Xemnas is like, I know nothing of any Kairi to Sora. So I don't fucking get that inconsistency. Why would he say that?
I don't know. That is interesting. I just wrote down here he's a liar and a bitch, which I don't know. I don't know if that's true. That makes me wonder if he lost some memories.
I mean, maybe.
Through becoming Xemnas in the process of becoming a nobody. But I don't know. There's no... That would be the only evidence of that. Right?
Yeah. And what's weird about the greater nobodies, and a greater nobody is a nobody that looks human, we've yet to really dive into this. I think we're going to dive into this next episode. But the whole reason of why the organization appear human is because they remember their lives as people.
Yeah, right.
And so why wouldn't Xemnas remember? Maybe he didn't know that was her name.
Oh.
Which would be really fucking crazy if he was just like, this little girl, I don't know her name, but something's weird about her and I'm going to send her off into space.
I guess, like, my immediate thought to that would be, like, she's implied to be royalty, though, right? But he, you know, he's a newcomer to Hollow Bastion, so maybe
they
he
just
would
called
know
her, like,
that.
the princess or something.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. Interesting to think about.
Yeah. So anyway,
or he's a liar and a bitch. I don't know. He's trying to be dramatic because we know Xemnas is dramatic. So.
I fucking love Xemnas, dude. I love how dramatic he is.
He's great.
I saw some fucking Nomura description of Xemnas where he wanted him to be like, you know those characters in mangas aimed for girls? I don't remember the word for it. Like shoujo mangas. Where the boy is like really, really romantic and has all these roses around him and has like a rose in his mouth. I remember reading an interview where Nomura was like, that's what I want Xemnas to be like. Like, I want him to be this really dramatic, romantic guy. And I think that's so fucking funny.
That is funny. He comes off, I remember him coming off to me whenever I was playing the game for the first time. He was just scary. Like, his voice was scary and he had this very commanding presence.
Yeah. Especially because Xemnas is weird because he really is emotionally distant. Like, it feels like things could go wrong for him and he would still look like everything's under his control. And so, like, there's nothing worse than a villain who never slips. There's nothing worse than a villain who never panics. And that is what Xemnas reminds me of.
I guess that kind of comes with the territory of being a nobody, though, right? Because their whole thing is that they don't feel emotions or have emotions or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the point that they're trying to drive home in this game, right?
Yeah. There was that line where Sora was like, don't you remember what it's like to have a heart? And Xemnas is like, I don't. And then he dies or fades away. And it's like, Mark, bitch. Wait. What a way to go.
I did write down a quote from, I think, Syx. Hold on. Let me pull it up. And this might pertain more to our next episode. But where the fuck are my Kingdom Hearts 2 notes? We don't have hearts, but we remember what it was like. That's what makes us special.
Yes. Yeah.
I did not write down who said that. I think it was Syx, but I'm not sure.
I think it was Syx. Okay, so something else about Xehanort I want to talk about.
Yes.
Which, like, it's like, this is like Kingdom Hearts 101 now, when you are such a long-term fan. It's almost like, as soon as a new character is introduced, this is what you look for, like, without even thinking. But I think maybe to new fans, they might not notice. But it's the fact that Xehanort, when he's a human, has brown eyes. And yet Ansem, or Xehanort's heartless, and Xemnas have, like, golden amber eyes. Yeah. And I think that is so interesting. I don't know why, but I do. Especially because, like, maybe this is just me, but, like, I love brown eyes and how they make someone look so kind, like puppy dog eyes, you know?
Yeah.
And you would think that's kind of like the air that Xehanort has, is like these brown, friendly, nice eyes. And then, just kidding, he's a fucking monster.
It's also misleading because Ansem the Wise has similar colored eyes to that.
Yeah, I forget that.
He's got, especially when he was Diz in Chain of Memories, he had his only fucking defining feature was the orange fucking glowing eye through his headscarf. But they have such they put such an emphasis on that portrait of Xehanort whenever Mickey and Sora are talking about it, because it literally takes up like the full screen for a long shot or multiple long shots. And he's got brown eyes in it. So it's kind of crazy. It's kind of misdirecting, red herring there.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's weird.
So here's my bullet point on one of my bullet points on this document. So the fact that I guess this applies to like Xemnas Xehanort, but also the organization as a whole. But I think it's just weird that like Kingdom Hearts can be made by separate means, which like I guess it's like literally a Kingdom of Hearts in both games, but like do they know if it was supposed to be of Hearts of Worlds or of Hearts of People? Are they just guessing? Are both methods valid? Do they even fucking know? It's weird because it's like it's one thing in the first game and now it's this whole separate thing. It's not like a separate thing, but like they're going about it in a whole different way in this game. And it's like how did they know about that? Or did they know about that?
I think that's a really good point because when Xehanort is a man and he's writing all his reports, you know, we theorize that he also wrote whatever is found in that Kingdom Hearts 1 lab. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that one is clearly about the Kingdom Hearts in that first game. Yeah. But there's no mention of the Kingdom Hearts created in the second game. In Kingdom Hearts 2, I mean.
Yeah, so, exactly.
You're right. Like, when did Xehanort, or whatever fucking version of him, like, when did he figure out, oh, actually, I can also do it this way? Especially if the Keyblade is needed for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For both of them. Yeah.
For both of them. You're so right.
Yeah. Because, they needed it in the first one to open the door or whatever. And now it's being used as a harvesting tool, which is crazy, by the way. It's just...
And that, like... Yeah. To carry on, because I will come back to our bullet points that... The train of thought that you and I have. But before that, that's why I really wanted to emphasize this discussion that Mickey has with Xehanort. Because if Mickey told Xehanort about the Keyblade, how much did that, like, fling forward Xehanort's knowledge about the door to darkness, the two keys tied to it, the how a Keyblade can unlock hearts to make another Kingdom Hearts. Like, did Mickey accidentally...
Tell him all that?
Really? Like...
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah. And so...
go ahead.
That's why I'm like... I don't know. That I think I'm just so... There are certain things in Kingdom Hearts that it feels like only I care about. And it's like nobody else thinks it's interesting. And
someone jump into this hole with me, please.
This is one of those fucking things, is the idea of Mickey and Xehanort discussing this. But you have a really good point later on, and I don't know if you want to get to that now or if we want to go back to what we were talking about.
We can go back to it later. Let's finish what we were talking about.
Okay. So with Xehanort creating, or I guess Xemnas, creating a Kingdom Hearts out of the hearts being released by Emblem Heartless, when writing this, I thought to myself, I was like, did Xehanort purposely invent Emblem Heartless knowing their hearts would eventually create a Kingdom Hearts? Or do you think he just, like, got lucky and, like, his plans just happened to work out that way?
That's such a good question. That's a great question.
Yeah.
Okay. So my thoughts on this, not that I've thought about this for any more than 10 seconds just now. I feel it was a got lucky situation, and then maybe like, oh, if my first plan doesn't work out, maybe I can try it this way. Yeah, I don't, because the experiments were just kind of in general to learn more about hearts, right? I don't think, I have a hard time believing that it was like those experiments were in like direct
correlation to
that, and indirect search of that at first.
Yeah.
Though I don't know. I can't say for sure, obviously.
I think you're right. Now that I'm thinking about it more, in like the order that he writes reports, it seems like he discovered Heartless, he was learning about Heartless, and then he discovered Halabastion's heart, and then came to the conclusion, what if all these hearts came together? So you're right. I think you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So another thing that kind of confused me, which, like, again, I think we've mentioned this before, maybe, but Kingdom Hearts 1 is kind of removed from a lot of the games that come after it, because Kingdom Hearts 1 kind of has its own logic, and then it kind of seems like somewhere along the way, different aspects become retconned to be where, like, the logic is just different, or, like, the world building is just a little different. Not, like, to the point where Kingdom Hearts 1, like, doesn't matter anymore, but you kind of have to, like, reform what you think. So, for example, in Kingdom Hearts 1, Xehanort's Heartless says, in the end, every heart returns to the darkness whence it came. But I don't really know if that's consistent now, because in Kingdom Hearts 2, hearts from the emblem Heartless that are released create Kingdom Hearts, the one that Xemnas kind of worships, but that Kingdom Hearts is in the world that never was, and the world that never was is in, like, the Twilight realm. It's not in the realm of darkness, because you can't really access that with the gummy ship, so it's still technically in the realm of light.
Yeah.
And so that would kind of contradict what Xehanort's Heartless said in the first game.
Yeah. So I'm going to rephrase my question that I wrote down here. So then, like, that makes me believe that because they talk about being able to harness the hearts, like harnessing and gathering hearts of, like, I'm getting lost in my own mind. It's because, like,
would it help to clarify maybe that I don't think the organization is redirecting the hearts. I think the hearts themselves are naturally following their own instinct to be gathered to the world that never was. Does that make sense?
So that was my question. So then has Kingdom Hearts always been being formed before the organization then? Like, has it been happening naturally and they're just, like, speeding it up?
Yeah. I think it would really depend, because, one, we've already talked about how Xehanort, all the drama that went down with Xehanort seems to be a long time ago, because Kairi and Sora and Riku seem to be just little kids when all that went down.
Yeah.
And so, but then you think about how Sora got the Keyblade when he was, like, 14 years old. And so did this heart only start getting made when Sora started releasing hearts, like, over a year ago or two?
Yeah. I'm still wrapping my head around this, because, like, what was happening to the hearts before? I guess Heartless only existed, like, recently, but, like, where do hearts go when they die? What happens when we die, Mel? Help.
So, I wonder if, like, Xehanort's Heartless was kind of right in saying that hearts go back. Because I think what he was trying to imply was that hearts go to the realm of darkness, not just to the Kingdom Hearts in the realm of darkness. But maybe that is what he meant. Maybe no matter what, hearts go to a Kingdom Hearts. Maybe they at first went... But see, okay. What I was going to say is that maybe before they did go to the Kingdom Hearts in that we always talked about in Kingdom Hearts 1. But I don't know if that's the truth, because in this game it really does seem to be implied that first Kingdom Hearts was just made from the hearts of worlds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I guess that's also implied in the first game as well. And so, I don't know. I don't know what happens when we die, Hannah.
No, I need your help. It's my mind, you can hear it just unraveling right now. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it. 'Cause like, how many people have existed before now that like, where did the hearts go? If they just go to a Kingdom Hearts when they die.
Yeah. And there's so many worlds.
There's gotta be like 4 Kingdom Hearts out there, right?
So I wonder if maybe, I don't know. Because like, in reality, I want to say you and I do know. We just don't know yet, you know? Or there's at least different possibilities in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But it is kind of weird how Kingdom Hearts 2 itself does not expand upon this. With all the world building that they have made so far, you think that they would just fucking... Because, like, okay, well, let me say this. At one point, let me actually look up which report it is, because I do know that at some Kingdom Hearts 2 report, Ansem the Wise does talk about straight-up death. So let me see. Okay, in Ansem the Wise's 4th report in Kingdom Hearts 2, Ansem the Wise says, when the soul leaves the body, its vessel, life gives way to death. But what about when the heart leaves? And then he starts talking about, like, becoming a nobody and becoming a heartless. So becoming a heartless is not exactly the same process as dying. Right. And so it seems that when someone dies, maybe there's, like, an afterlife or something. But maybe when someone becomes a pure blood heartless, as we've talked about, the heart is consumed by darkness. And then when it's an emblem heartless, it's stuck inside. And then when Sora kills it, it goes to Kingdom Hearts. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So like the different process of losing the heart makes it go down a different road.
Yes.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting theory. That makes sense to me. It's, And
because that would explain why there's not 4 different huge Kingdom Hearts, because people die all the time. There's a whole fucking galaxy in this game series, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay. So going back to Mickey, when I was reading through the script, I thought about, again, the conversation that Mickey and Ansem had and whether that was actually retconned to be about Xehanort or not. What I posed here is that I feel it might be possible that Xehanort witnessed that meeting between Mickey and Ansem and at that point is still trying to pass himself off as Ansem in those reports, so maybe he still wrote it as if he was Ansem. Yeah,
in trying to frame maybe his master. I could see that, and I could see that because in the script, we made like a quick little mention of like, Mickey's investigating the worlds and the Heartless and why they're appearing. And it's like, well, how do you know that? How do you know he's investigating that? And the reason I came to that conclusion and I wrote it that way is because the conversation Mickey and Ansem the Wise are having, Mickey is like, I've come to seek your advice. And Ansem the Wise is like, I'm intrigued by your hypothesis, but I'm worried about the stability of the worlds, the doors, and the Heartless. I'm wondering if I'm responsible for all of it. You know, so if they're already talking about all that, it means Mickey's the one who brought it up. And so where the fuck was I? Oh, my point is it would be interesting if Mickey and Ansem the Wise did talk about worlds and the hearts and the Keyblade and maybe the door to darkness where hearts gather and maybe that's when Xehanort was listening in. You know, he had his little cup to the door listening,
Yeah.
you know.
And
And
he was
maybe
shadowing for the day he was taking notes.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Because that was just how it struck me, you know? Instead of thinking of it as a retcon, just thinking of, okay, how could this be possible as it's being told to us? And then another point that frustrated me about all of this is that when Mickey's talking with Sora about Xehanort, Mickey mentions having met Xehanort, but can't remember when or why. He can't remember it.
Yeah, you're right.
Which is so frustrating to
Fucking
me.
Mickey. And it's funny because, like, I don't remember all the conversations I've had with people. And so it's like, does Mickey not remember because he only knows him as the Master Ansem guy? Or does Mickey not remember Xehanort even though they had a long discussion, but maybe that discussion was like 10 fucking years ago? Who the hell would remember a conversation like that?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's hard to say. Yeah, that's a good point. Gosh, like, okay, I've said it before, but there is so much about Xehanort we can discuss. Do you have anything else you want to bring up?
Let me look through my notes.
Okay.
As I was playing through Kingdom Hearts 2 for this season, I wrote down a bunch of notes. Okay, so the last 2 points I wrote here, one of them kind of touches on what we were talking about earlier. I put in quotes here, so it means someone said it. But what if one willingly releases one's heart from one's body?
Okay. Oh my god, I'm such a fucking nerd. Because I know Ansem the Wise writes that in one of the reports.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I was, touching on. So that I feel like we might even be able to keep this in, because I feel like that line pertains to, once again, what we talked about, and that's how Xehanort was able to become a heart and not immediately a heartless who immediately lost all cognizance of who he was. I don't know if that's the right word. Yeah. But like, if he was willing to submit to the darkness and he was determined to do his goals, is that how he was able to remain himself even after all this? And I think that's what Ansem the Wise is also discussing. So, yeah, there is so much about Xehanort to discuss that we haven't even touched on. Well, I guess we did touch on, like, who was he before amnesia? But we didn't, we just, like, mentioned it. We didn't actually dig into it. And we don't really know. There's not really any clues pointing to that, right?
There are some clues, but we can't talk about that until, like, the end of the season.
Okay. Well, tune in.
I know. And then we also need to talk about, like, what happened to his experimentees? What happened to all the, like, yes, they turned into Heartless, but, like, what about their bodies? What happened to them? And then does Xemnas, after Xemnas wants to create Kingdom Hearts as well, but the organization is always like, we want hearts back. We want our hearts back. Is that what Xemnas wants? Does Xemnas want his heart back? Or is Xemnas still eager and hungry like Xehanort himself is? And so there's so much about this man that I feel like, we discussed in the beginning of the discussion was that we're still going to talk about him throughout, I feel like, the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's kind of impossible not to.
Yes, there's so much to him. He has so many, like, roots spread out through different areas of this game. And so there's more to him. He's not done, and we're not done with him, so.
He will return in Shedding Starlight Season 3.
He will come back. He always does. Anyway.
These actions will have consequences.
Oh, God.
Okay. So, we have reached the end of our first episode of Season 3. And before we go, and before we tell you what next week's episode is going to be about, we have launched something very exciting for this season. We have launched a Patreon page. Yay! We're doing this for a couple of reasons. We're about to be monetization eligible on both YouTube and our audio. I think we're gonna hit both of those goals pretty quickly.
Please.
So what we're doing a couple different things. So we're gonna be turning all that on whenever we are eligible. So what we're gonna do is we're going to offer ad-free episodes on our Patreon. Those will be uploaded as audio and video over there. And then, if in case people want to support us even more, we have some extra bonus stuff over on the Patreon. What we're going to be doing, we know people hate kind of the long breaks that we take in between seasons. So what we wanted to do is keep everyone updated even when we're on off seasons. So we're going to be offering a monthly newsletter over there, and we're gonna be offering bonus content. We're gonna do one episode every month of just whatever me and Mel want to talk about.
Yes.
And you know, if you want more of us, you can find more of us over there. Our first episode we did, we talked about our experience with Universal Horror Nights, Halloween Horror Nights, and we talked about Stranger Things a lot. Yeah. And it's Halloween. This is coming out the week of Halloween, so we just kind of did like a Halloween general themed episode.
Yeah.
And those will be coming out every month.
Boo.
So there's only 2 tiers right now, a $2 and a $5, so you can go over there and check that out. I won't, preach about this for too long, but please go check it out. See if you want to support us, because it does cost money to make Shedding Starlight every month, unfortunately. So yeah, go check it out. And if you want to pledge, please feel free. We would love to see you over there. And if more ideas and more ways to interact come to us as we develop that page, then things may change, things may grow. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll see. So yeah, that's that for that. That everything should be live by the time this episode comes out. So there should be a link in the description. Everything that you sign up for will be eligible over there, will be uploaded and everything. And yeah, that's it, I believe.
I'm so thankful that we're even in a position to like think about Patreon.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for like all our listeners who like come back multiple times, our regulars. We recognize you and we get excited and we're touched and we're thankful.
We do. I was looking through comments on YouTube even during our break, and I definitely saw comments of like, when are you guys coming back? We miss you. And it's like, we miss you too. We miss you too. We just take time to do things, and now we're doing even more things for you. So like that's what we're doing. So yeah, thank you so much. Even if you're just listening, we love you.
Yeah,
very much. Anything else, Mel? Oh, what's our next episode gonna be about?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I wanted to start with Xehanort because we had to talk about what was different from the first game. But originally, I wanted to talk about the organization first. And we moved it to the second episode, but I still think it'll be nice to talk about the organization so that we can learn all their names, we can know what they want, why they are there, what their goal is, and that'll be a great foundation for the rest of the season. So yeah.
The organization.
Where
can they send in their questions, Mel, about the organization?
They can send in their questions at sheddingstarlight@gmail.com or in YouTube comment sections if you prefer.
Hell yeah. And now Patreon comment sections.
That'll be fun.
If you so choose, yeah. And you know what? If you do that, we'll give you a special shout out. We're going to say, hey, this question came from a Patreon subscriber. Thank you to this person. So, hell yeah. Go check it out. All right. Well, anything else?
No, not as far as I can think of.
Amazing. Well, as always, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the Starlight.